Hey guys, welcome to part C of your Halloween math homework review packet. Your secret word right now is pumpkin, and your answers on these problems are 3 halves, -4 thirds, -1/5, 0, -5 ninths, -3 fourths, -2 fifths, 3 fifths, 1 half, and -1 and 1/2. Please stick around if any of that was confusing. Alright, so with these problems, just like with regular integers, if you're stuck, you can always draw a closed number line. And I have one drawn to the right, but for this homework video, I'm going to go over how to do each one. So this first problem says -1/2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a 0, so I know where that is, and I know that -1/2 is going to be below it. And then we're going to go up a total of 4 halves, and I'm going to split that up into 1 half and 3 halves, because I know that that's a total of 4 halves. So I go up 1 half to get to 0, because that gets me to a friendly number. And then from there, I'm going to go up the final 3 halves, which gives us our answer of 3 halves. For B, again, I'm going to put a 0 on it, and -3 halves, or -3 thirds, sorry, that's going to start below 0, so I'm going to put that on my open number line. And then subtraction means that we're going down, so in this situation, it's like we're going farther away from 0. We're going down 1/3, and that gets us to a final answer of -4 thirds. For C, for this problem, it's really interesting how many students start with -2 fifths. But if you look at it, this number has nothing in front of it, and there's no negative sign in the front. So that means that this is a positive 2 fifths. So I'm going to put positive 2 fifths. Actually looks kind of negative. Maybe I'll put it on the other side. So we have 2 fifths over here. And then we're going down a total of 3 fifths, so I'm going to break 3 fifths into 2 fifths and 1 fifth, and I'm going to bring this down to a friendly number of 0. So 2 fifths minus 2 fifths would get us down exactly to 0, and then I'm going to go down 1 more fifth, and now we're going to be at -1 fifth. Alright, and then for D, we're starting at -3 fourths, and we're adding, so we're going up 3 fourths. And I'm hoping that some of you saw this problem and immediately knew that the answer was going to be 0. And if you didn't, you could have started at -3 fourths, known that 0 was going to be up over here, and then if we go up 3 fourths, either by 1/4, which a lot of you guys like to do, or all at once, you should end up with exactly 0. Alright, so for E and F, we're dealing with rational numbers that have different denominators, and there was a bunch of students who struggled with this on the quiz, and another group that pretty much had it. So I'm going to go over it now, and hopefully it will help you if you were lost. So we can't do -2 thirds plus 1/9 because thirds and ninths are very different size pieces. We have to make them the same size so then we can add them. So I see that 3 is a factor of 9, so I'm going to use that to realize that I need to write 2 thirds in ninths. So 3 times 3 equals 9, so I'm going to do that same thing to the top. 2 times 3 equals 6. And now I'm going to rewrite this problem. -2 thirds is equivalent to -6/9. And then I'm going to bring down the plus 1/9. And now I have a problem that I can solve on a closed or an open number line. If I put -6/9 here, and I know that 0 is going to be somewhere up over here, adding means that we're going up, so I'm going to go up 1/9, and that would just bring us to negative 5/9. Alright, so same deal with f. Halves and fourths are different size pieces, so we can't just combine them together like this. So what we need to do is we need to see how they're related, and I see that 2 is a factor of 4, so I'm going to rewrite 1/2. And remember, to do that, you're looking for what the factor is that you can multiply, and I know that 2 times 2 would give us 4, and 1 times 2 would give us 2. So I'm going to rewrite this problem. Now, the negative sign stays, but instead of 1/2, we're going to write the equivalent fraction, negative 2/4. Now I'm going to bring down the minus 1/4. And from here, I know that we're at negative 2/4, 0 somewhere up over there, and since we're subtracting, we're going to go down. I'm going to go down 1 more fourth, and that would get us farther away from 0 at negative 3/4. Alright, so maybe some of you saw this one and you got kind of confused because we have a whole number and a fraction and we're adding or subtracting them. But it really helps to think about this in a different way. We have 3/5 minus a whole. And if you have a whole and you want to figure out how many fifths that is, well, you could just break it up into 5 parts, and the whole thing is the whole, so that's the same as 5/5. So now I know that 1 whole is 5/5, and that's going to help me here. So I'm going to rewrite this problem as 3/5 minus 5/5. Okay, that's the first part. Now we can think about it the same way we would an elevator problem. We have a positive number, and we're subtracting, so the elevator is going down, and it's going down this much. So I'm going to draw a vertical number line, and we're going to start at 3/5, and then we're going to go down a total of 5/5, but I'm going to break up 5/5 to make this problem easier. I'm going to break it up into 3/5 and 2/5. So I'm going to go down 3/5 because that gets me to 0. And then I'm going to go down whatever's left, which is 2/5, and that gets us our answer of negative 2/5. Alright, and then if you look at h, I'm being kind of sneaky here, and I was hoping that some people might notice that these two problems are related. I don't even have to draw a new open number line because now what we're doing is we're starting at negative 2/5 and we're going up a whole. So it's like we're starting here, and now we're going to go up a whole. And I already know that this is a whole, so if I ended up going up 2/5 and up 3 more fifths, I end up basically just getting where we started from. I get an answer of 3/5. And maybe you didn't solve it the way that I did it, but you should see that your answer to G makes H pretty easy. Alright guys, on to the gold level problems. For these, I gave you mixed numbers and whole numbers. I wanted to see what you would do with them. So we have -1 and a half. And a strategy that I saw some students using in class was they just took this mixed number and they rewrote it as an improper fraction. So I know that a whole is the same as 2 halves, and then we also have a half. So really, this 1 and 1/2 is the same as this. So I'm going to rewrite this problem as -3 halves. And now the plus 2, well, I know that 2 is the same as 4 halves. Because 1 whole would be 2 halves, and 2 wholes would be 4 halves. So now I have a problem that's not as hard to solve. And if you start at -3 halves, and we go up 4 halves, well, I'm going to start by going up 3 halves, which gets us to 0. and then go up the final half, which gets us this answer. And I bet there are other much cooler strategies, but a lot of you are going to be discovering them in class, so I really don't want to show them to you. And I'm going to say that that's sort of the same deal with this last problem. I am just curious to see who can figure this one out at this point. So try it using your own strategies. I don't want to ruin it by just showing you mine, and we'll see what you come up with. All right, I'm going to move on to the very last problem. Okay. What is happening? This is really weird. Are you really still watching me do this? Can you go to the last page now? Can you stop? Can you stop this? Can you go to the last page?